Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Oklahoma Sportscene. I'm Chris Link, along with the coach and Hall of Famer, Gil Cloud from TPS, the Tulsa Public School Systems here, as Director of Athletics. Well, Coach, everybody's talking about the one big story, the Kentucky Derby, the first Saturday in May, and not what it appeared to be.
Isn't it something? You know, we were at another event in Oklahoma, and my phone started blowing up with all of these pundits indicating what they thought had happened, and then 20 minutes later, we got the real winner.
Disqualification of the Kentucky Derby. We wanted to go into detail about that. We will with Richard Linihan. He's one of their big media guys and handicapper at Remington Park in Oklahoma City. He made the trip over to Tulsa here to talk with us about the race. We'll have video, lots of replays, lots of photos, and maybe you have your own decision, of course, or opinion about it as well. All we know for sure is that the winner of the Kentucky Derby was not the winner of the Kentucky Derby. We knew one winner for sure, though, our Tulsa Oilers hockey team, Coach.
Well, I tell you, they keep playing well, and, you know, I really got to hand it to them, Chris. They go on the road, a 24-hour bus ride.
From Boise, Idaho.
To Boise, and then a 24-hour bus ride back, and then win Game 6 to win the championship. First time in 43 years. And
John Peterson, their media guy and voice of the Oilers, will be with us, along with Rob Murray, their outstanding coach in the second year, who led the Oilers to that incredible victory. And now they take on Toledo in the Western Conference Championship. We'll preview that as well with the guys. And then one of our favorite guests, Bill Haisten of the Tulsa World, their sports columnist, award-winning sports columnist, have kind of a lot of different topics. He covered, of course, the Oklahoma Thunder during the season, obviously the draft, spring football. Bill will talk about all of it.
He's going to have an opinion. Bill's going to have an opinion about everything. But I think we'll get into in-depth a little bit about the Thunder and some of their issues. And of course, the draft is when they're in spring practice. You know, we're up in the air with 4 institutions with quarterbacks.
That's right. And let's talk about all that with him, too. Also, we have a Shoot for the Center, it's called. It's a fun charity game of horse basketball. Some celebrities, coaches, celebrity business people, former players and stuff, all taking part in the Center for Individuals with Physical Challenges at their new arena on May the 18th. And good friend Gary Bartlett, a former board member, will be here to preview that. Then, of course, Barry Lewis.
Barry Lewis will be here with the coach and the student athlete of the month, as we always do every month. And we only have one more because the state tournaments are this next weekend.
Well, the Kentucky Derby, of course, is on everybody's mind. The first Saturday in May, the 145th running. Maximum Security won the race, but then he didn't win the race. We're going to have, I mentioned, a very special guest, Richard Linihan, to talk much more about that as it comes up. Oilers playoff, we mentioned that to you as well with our coach and our media person. Be here to discuss that. And the OKC Thunder. Coach, I know Bill Haisten has some opinions. How about some of your opinions on the Thunder season? Was it a good season, a bad season, or what's going to happen now?
You know, I think coaching professional athletes may be one of the toughest things that you have to do, because here's the situation. You're coaching millionaires. You know you're making more than the coach. You know, lots more than the coach. He tells you to do something. You may do it, you may not, because they're probably not going to fire the player. They're going to fire the coach. I kind of feel sorry for Billy Donovan in one respect, because I think when they call a timeout, I'm not sure if when they go out they do what they did during the timeout. I think they do whatever they want to do. Yeah. And, of course, the other thing, and I think Russell Westbrook is a heck of a basketball player, but I'll tell you what he's done with the media is absolutely ridiculous. If I was the owner, I probably would not win anything, but I'd tell him either you're going to talk to him or you're not playing, and I don't care how good you are.
Yeah, Bill Hasten's going to get into that. He has some comments and thoughts about that as well, and it really upsets me. Russell Westbrook, a multimillionaire, an outstanding athlete, a great basketball player. And what he's done to Barry Trammell, one of the most respected media people in our state and through the NBA as well, a great columnist over there, and repeatedly asking very smart, intelligent questions. And Russell Westbrook just brushed them off. Next question. Next question.
Next question.
I think the guys finally, and I wish they'd do this and think about this next year, don't talk to him.
We have no questions for
you. We have no questions for you. You don't want to give us answers? We don't have any questions for you. Bill Haisten, a lot more on that in the Oklahoma City Thunder and what their future might look like. 3 straight years now out in the first round of the NBA playoffs. That's not acceptable in Oklahoma City of all the money they're putting into that team there. NBA draft coach, of course, the excitement of another OU quarterback going #1 in the draft.
NFL
draft. Kyler Murray, wow.
I tell you what, to think about having 2 Heisman trophies and then 2 #1 picks. And then think about maybe there'll be a third.
That's right.
With Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid was all SEC. He was the player of the year in the SEC, and now he comes to Oklahoma. I'm telling you, they got a shot with the kind of offense that Lincoln Riley runs. He will gear that to what that quarterback's strengths are, and you watch. They'll be tough to defend.
Bill Haisten is going to talk some more about the NFL draft as well. And Coach, I know a guy you were really excited about was a former Tulsa McLean High School student. Josh Jacobs went on to have a great career at the University of Alabama and was the first running back taken in the NFL draft.
You know, and Josh is such a great story and such a great kid. And what a testament to Tulsa McLean and the education he got there and the education he got at Alabama. There's no question that Josh will, I think, have a great career in the NFL. And I tell you, another running back, Justice Hill, Booker T, young man. Yeah. I think the Ravens got a steal in the 4th round that he lasted that long. They're concerned about his size and they're concerned about the possible injury. But I'm going to tell you, he is a stud.
Tulsa Drillers just wrapped up a 7-game homestand at One Oak Field, highlighted by their outfielder DJ Peters. By the way, hit his 4th home run in 7 games. Barry Lewis will talk more about the Drillers and their great run. Their next homestand, by the way, will start Thursday, May the 16th through the 19th against Arkansas. So make your plans to get out there and see some of these Drillers. Barry Lewis will tell you about some of the outstanding minor league prospects they have in AA. They may not be around Tulsa very long, though, so come out and support the Tulsa Drillers. Another group we got to talk about on the diamond, how about Bedlam softball and the Oklahoma Sooner women's team?
I tell you, Patty Grasso has done such a great job of putting together a national championship program year after year after year. And, you know, we've talked about this, Chris. Women's softball and men and women's gymnastics are taking over Oklahoma.
Boy, the Sooners don't know what to do with this now. I tell you, they had what a run, though. And again, the Oklahoma State ladies, they were number 12 in the nation. They had a shot at the Big 12 championship, but OU swept them this past weekend. That's Oklahoma's 8th straight Big 12 championship, 18th overall. They finished the league for the first time with a perfect record, 18
First time
all, right?
in the Big 12, yes.
Record 36 consecutive wins heading into the Big 12 tournament coming up on May the 10th. So the Oklahoma Sooner women's softball team really rolling. Speaking of softball, we've got a crowd that's doing pretty well, right?
Well, I tell you what, that Kylie Cloud and those Diamond girls, 21-0. They played in the tournament in Sallisaw this last weekend, outscored their opponents 71-21. And, you know, we're just excited to be able to watch the young kids play, but they're playing better every week. We don't know.
Ranked
coaching. 4th in the state.
And your son's coaching, right?
My son's coaching.
Nice job. All right.
Yeah, he's learned everything from me.
Roughneck soccer. The Roughnecks are back on the winning side of their record now, 4-3-3. This past weekend, they had a 2-2 draw at Reno on the road as Rodrigo da Costa tied that game in the 60th minute. Next match will be in Austin, Texas on May the 14th. Then they'll go to San Antonio May 18th. Because of all the Drillers baseball games, Roughnecks are on the road, not at One Oak Field. In fact, their next home match isn't until the 1st of June. So you soccer fans keep cheering on the Roughnecks. So they're playing well this season, Coach.
They are playing well, and of course they have these length of time in there where they have to play baseball, and so they can't play soccer. So it's one of those things.
All right, Kentucky Derby recap coming up. What happened in the Derby? Why did it happen? We'll have all the answers for you with Richard Linihan of Remington Park. That's next on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
At Rogers State University, we keep things personal.
It all starts here.
We make sure our graduates get the most out of their education.
RSU has campuses in Claremore, Bartlesville, and Pryor, with on-campus housing and a wide variety of programs to suit your needs.
It all starts here.
Rogers State University.
Jimmy's Egg now introducing a 55-plus menu. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Special items and special prices for us a little older, I guess you'd say. Also, don't forget, coming up on Jimmy's Egg, they have free pancakes. That's right. You download their app, you can order free pancakes. The best ever, of course, at Jimmy's Egg. They serve breakfast and lunch all day. They open at 6 a.m. They close at 2 p.m. Locations throughout Tulsa, throughout Oklahoma City, 22 company locations. Jimmy's Egg, simply the best.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brewhouse? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
All right, you're all talking about it. The Kentucky Derby and the disqualification. We got an expert along with us here, Richard Linihan from Remington Park, made the trip over from Oklahoma City to with us on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Richard, good to have you with us, my friend.
Good to be here.
Yeah, we go back a long ways, Gil, this guy and me.
My goodness,
Talk about some of your
imagine.
background in the sport here in Tulsa. Of course, you're a longtime figure here as well.
That's right. I wrote the horse racing column for the Tulsa Tribune and for the Tulsa World from about 1986 to 2005. Jay Cronley was working at the Tulsa Tribune back in those days, and if you I remember Jay wrote a book called Good Vibes that they based the movie Let It Ride on.
Yeah.
So he knew a lot about horse racing. I knew nothing because my mom had recurring dreams about a horse biting her in the back. So she never took us around horses. My sports editor, Mike Sal, said, will you do the horse racing for us? I looked at him and said, which end is which? And so I ended up going to Jay Cronley, and he taught me just about everything I knew. 3 years later, on Kentucky Derby Day in 1990, I hit my first pick six for $17,000 when Unbridled won the sixth leg.
That's right. Wow. I know you're director of racing at Sam Houston Park, down there, the media there, and also near Tulsa State Fair Meadows, of course. Took care of that as well. And then tell me about your assignment now at Remington Park, your responsibilities over in Oklahoma City.
I was hired last August as a communications assistant in the press box. I write the press releases. I do handicapping for the races and do interviews in the winner's circle with the winning connections, as well as some paddock preview information.
Well, before we get to all the DQ and stuff, let's take a look back at the 145th running of the Kentucky Derby. And again, it was, Maximum Security, number 7 horse, went off as the second choice in the race. And we'll pick it up here and take a look at the Kentucky Derby. Then we'll talk about just what happened to make Derby history.
The outside battles on 2. War of Will is also there. And down toward the inside, Maximum Security is boxing on 2. And probable down the center of the track, there's 1 furlong to go. It's Maximum Security digging down deep. Country House continues to close on the outside. But Maximum Security at the peak of perfection in the Kentucky Derby wins by 2. Country House was second. Code of Honor was there in the photo for third.
So Maximum Security crosses the line first to Churchill Downs by a length and a half in front of Country House and Code of Honor, but hold all tickets. The sign went up, objection. 2 jockeys filed objections. 22 minutes later, we had history made at the Kentucky Derby. They took the winner down. Richard, your impressions, your thoughts?
Well, you know, watching it live, I really thought they weren't going to take the horse down. But after watching the next morning, the slow motion replay, Maximum Security and War of Will, they did make contact. And Chris sent me some pictures, some still pictures that were unbelievable and showing contact between the 2 horses. And once that happens, I don't see how the stewards could have done anything else.
Your impressions, Gil?
Well, you know, having been around, I lived 1.5 miles from Churchill Downs when I was growing up. And so we used to go out there all the time, so I've been around the horses a lot. And my wife's uncle had Like a Bird, which won the All-American Futurity way back in the day. Yeah. But anyhow, my question would be, why did it take so long? And how did they move that horse so far back in the field?
Well, here's the thing. I think the reason it took so long for them to make a decision was because it was the Kentucky Derby, the biggest horse race of the year. If it had been a maiden claiming race on a Wednesday, like Bill Mott said, or the trainer of Country House, that horse would have been DQ'd immediately. But they wanted to get it right. Couldn't take much longer than the NBA referees take on the sidelines, could it, in a playoff game? Yeah. So they wanted to get it right. It had to be unanimous, the decision, or there was going to be even more hell to pay. And the reason they put the horse so far down is because the 2 horses that he bothered were the 1, War of Will, and 18, Long Range Toddy. Long Range Toddy finished 17th, 16th, and they have to put the horse behind the one that finishes worst of the ones he bothered.
So the winner of the race officially now, Country House at 65 to 1, paid a very nice $132.40 on a $2 win bet. Then all the controversy started. Now, of course, Gary West, the owner of the horse that was DQ'd, Maximum Security, went on national television and said, well, he's going to file an immediate appeal to the stewards of Kentucky, which is really a waste of his time and everybody else's. They don't even meet till Thursday in Louisville. And I'm looking at their reading here too by the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission. It says findings of fact and determination shall be final and not subject to appeal.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so that's
So
now
now-
what about legal action?
Yeah, Gary
Hope
West
not.
said the morning of this shooting that he was considering litigious action.
Oh, boy.
So I don't know where that'll lead. Like the Kentucky courts, don't have better things to decide than whether a horse bumped into another horse.
Then, of course, now we look ahead to the Preakness coming up in 2 weeks at Baltimore at Pimlico Racecourse. And they made it clear, again, Gary West said he is not taking maximum security there. He said, I don't have a shot at the Triple Crown, so I'm not running. We got a few of the Derby horses coming back. The second, third place horses will both be there. And some new shooters and stuff. But it does take away from the race, certainly. And, of course, no Triple Crown this year.
You know what will be interesting is that whether Gary and Mary West, who own Maximum Security, take Game Winner to the Preakness. They own him too.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Bob Baffert trains Game Winner, and he may have had one of the worst trips of any of the horses in the Derby. So watch out for him in the Preakness. He broke slowly and got shuffled back to next to last, and then he raced 8 horses wide the entire oval at a mile. So he ran a lot farther than anybody else did on Derby Day, and he still finished 5th. So he may have been the best horse in the race.
So Country House, who was finished second, but then of course put up as the winner of the Kentucky Derby, they say he will be a Pimlico schedule right now. Code of Honor, Shug's horse, who ran second in the Kentucky Derby, he'll be there as well. I'm not sure what they're thinking of here. They've got Bodie Express, who was 13th in the Derby. They take a shot and run him back. Another Derby horse they're talking about is Mark Cassidy, was 7th in the Derby, the War of Will. He'll be back along with some new shooters, but. Be able to see what kind of field they put together. Pretty sure it'll be a full 14 horses, though.
Yeah, after what happened in the Derby, it'll be a fuller field than normal in the Preakness. Usually it'll get down to about 9 horses or 7 in the Preakness after all the Derby horses exit. But this year, who knows, because of what happened in the absence of maximum security.
I'm reading Bill Finley, longtime friend of ours, great horse racing columnist. He said the stewards got it right, but the rule is wrong. That America and Canada have a racing rule where if you bother a horse, you're coming down and going behind it, even if you look like the clear winner. International racing, every other country, they said, Richard, I was reading this, that if it looks like a clear-cut situation where the horse that caused the problem was still the best horse and would have won the race, they would have no change. And they said 100% that they would have kept up the winner of the Derby, or the horse disqualified rather. They would have made sure maximum security won the race, would not have come down.
Plus, if you appeal something like this, a ruling like this, you're appealing to the stewards, who are the people that made the decision in the first place.
God,
Are they really going to change their mind in 3 days?
And then the stewards played Westbrook and wouldn't answer any questions.
Yeah, that was bad.
That's
too.
exactly right.
Yeah, yeah.
They could have been a lot
I know.
more transparent.
Okay, coming us here, talk about coming up Remington Report. You got the Remington Report as well to do with us that your friend Dale Day said. So tell us what's happening at Remington Park. What's coming up at the racetrack in Oklahoma City?
Well, this past week we had a horse named LD is back. The horse won our Leo Stakes this week at Remington Park. Is one of the better older quarter horses running in the country. Ran in the Champion of Champions at Los Alamitos. This $600,000 race and one of the biggest races in the country every year. Only got beat a neck by a horse that ended up being the world champion last year. And so he comes into Remington Park, goes off 2-1, and just smokes him. He ends up accepting an invitation to the Remington Park Invitational at the end of the meet. It'll be on closing day, June 1st. And I think we have trials coming up this week for some of the best 2-year-olds in our barns and possibly in the country. We'll find out a little later in the summer when they head to Ruidoso.
Richard, appreciate you making the trip out to Oklahoma City. We have something for you here.
You
One
bet.
of our sponsors.
Be really cognizant of Bricktown Brewery because it's a great place to go.
And you have one at
telling
Remington
you.
Park, right? Just right down the
Yeah,
stairs
right
from you.
upstairs. It's on the second floor
There
of
you go.
Remington Park.
All right.
Bricktown Brewery. Thank you guys. I
You bet.
appreciate it.
Richard Linihan joining us here from Remington Park to talk about the Kentucky Derby. When we come back, we have some clear-cut champions to talk about. Our Tulsa Oilers hockey team. Stay with us.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brew house? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
Welcome to OKC's most unique casino experience. One moment you're surrounded by dazzling lights, jackpotting the latest and greatest machines in town, and the next moment, cheering home a winner in the greatest quarter horse racing show on earth. It's a truly unique 24/7 gaming experience. The only casino in the heart of OKC is the only casino that can make your heart truly race. Remington Park.
Well, you know, Jimmy's Egg, of course, is the place to go for breakfast or lunch any time of the day, starting at 6 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. Jimmy's Egg, of course, with 3 locations in Tulsa, 22 company stores, 17 more in Oklahoma City. Want to be really cool, though? Go to the phone and get the Jimmy's app. Jimmy's app, you just pull up whatever you want. They have coupons, they have specials, they have the entire menu. You can order online as well. Jimmy's app with Jimmy's Egg. Can't beat it. We're celebrating here at Oklahoma Sportscene the first time in 43 years of regular season. We have division champions on the ice, the Tulsa Oilers. Congratulations, guy. Rob Murray, their coach, did a fantastic job in his second season. John Peterson, the play-by-play media guy here. Coach, congratulations. Wrapping that up against Idaho Sunday night and on to Toledo now. Talk about the series.
Well, it was, getting off to a 2-0 start, two home games here. Going to Idaho, we won the third game, and hopefully, we were hoping that we could finish the series there, but they came out strong, and it was expected. I mean, it was a very close series. I mean, even the 2 games at home were 2-1 games. We scored empty net goals to make it 3-1. 1-0 win in Idaho on Tuesday night, and then Wednesday, we were just a little fatigued, and they took advantage of it. And then Friday night, 0-0 going in the third period, but we had a couple meltdowns there in the third, but came back, and I think by far it was our best game of the series last night in clinching the division championship.
And John, it really is a challenge to these players. Talk about the bus ride from Idaho and the time change you had to make to give them more time.
Well, it was right after our win in Game 2. We hopped on the bus and went up to Boise, which ended up being about 24 hours. Got off the bus, had about 24 hours, a little less than 24 hours before Game 3. And it's a fast turnaround. And the guys showed up and won a 1-0 game to take a 3-0 series lead. So I think a lot of the guys kind of used it as maybe some extra fuel, a bonding experience, maybe a little chip on their shoulder, and stepped off that bus and went out there and won a hockey game. This team is there's no adversity standing in their way. They'll fight through it.
Rob, what do you think now over the long haul? Now you've got another series, 7-game series. What does that do to you? I mean, you've played 2 now.
Well, I think that the experience that the guys are gaining right now is it's really what you kind of hope for throughout the playoffs, that you can get in deep enough that, you know what, now nothing really bothers us, and we're not nervous about things, and we know what playoff hockey is all about. So it's very valuable for the experience. You get a lot of guys that have never played pro hockey this season and now never played pro hockey playoffs. And getting that experience going forward, I think it's really, really valuable for us going into the Toledo series now, having 2 series behind us. And again, we approach it kind of cliche, I guess, but not too high, not too low. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter what game it is. You got to come to work the next game.
You probably have some that haven't played this many games in a season.
No, I think that was what our 86th game or 84th game last night, I think, or on the season. Yep. And you got Dylan Brado and Adam Pleshkash who have played every game this season. And including one exhibition game to boot. So but that's what happens. I mean, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and you just got to keep going.
John, look at your stat sheet. Oilers really well represented at the top of the playoff standings in terms of goals and points and stuff with a couple of your star guys.
Yeah, Alex Dosty's a guy that we got from San Diego for the playoffs. He played just enough regular season games to qualify for the playoff roster, and he leads the entire ECHL in scoring, both goals and points. Steven Perfetto just had a streak snap that I'd have to go way back in Oilers history to see if anybody's had one as long, but he had 18 straight games with a point going back to November, including 11 in a row in the playoffs. So those guys are game changers. And Adam Pleskach led the entire league in goals in the regular season with 38, and he's got 9 in the playoffs. So 10 now because he scored 2 in Game 6. That's right. So those guys continue to do what they've been doing all year long, and they've been leading the way.
Well, you eliminate Idaho 4-2. Toledo dominates Cincinnati, though, 4-1 in their series. Talk about this Toledo team you'll face.
Well, I think what you're going to get from Toledo is that they have some real high-end skill, and some of their better players are very dangerous. I think Idaho, their personnel were deep, but I don't know that they had that dynamic player, kind of like what Dosty and Perfetto have been for us. But you've got a few guys on that team that can make a difference in a game by themselves. So it's going to be a challenge to keep them at bay. But we played well. Like I said, we played well there this season. The 2 games that we played in Toledo, and playoffs are a different animal, and just got to go out and play.
You're injury-wise? How are you injury-wise?
We've got 2 guys are out for the season that started the playoffs with us. Ryan Tiesink, who was out for 5 of the 6 games against Idaho, played last night, got the first goal. Just a warrior. Like, he wasn't even expected to play last night, but was pushed into action due to another injury that is more of a day-to-day thing. But overall, we're probably worse off right now than we had been all season as far as injuries go. But we're making it work, and right now we've only got 1 healthy extra body on the roster, and so it's tough once you sustain some big injuries, and these injuries happened in Game 7 against Kansas City. We lost 4 guys that night, and a couple have come back, and a couple of guys are not going to be back. So.
And you can't get help.
The only rule that once you drop to 15 possible skaters and 2 goalies, what you can do is you can, on an emergency basis, you can sign a guy, but that is only an amateur. So you can either get a junior guy or a college kid right now. But looking at those guys, they've all been done for 2 months. So even to find somebody at this point, so hopefully you don't have to resort to that. But that is the league rule. If you drop, because our playoff roster is 23 right now, or that's what the maximum is. And as I said, we're down to last night. We skated 16-2 with only 1 healthy body, so we're 17-2 right now.
Well, the ECHL Western Finals will be starting on Friday, May the 10th at Toledo, then Sunday, May the 12th at Toledo. Now wait a minute. We have home ice, and we're starting there. Obviously, we have a conflict at BOK. Is that it, John, or what's the schedule like?
Yeah, a little bit of a scheduling conflict. Ironically, they had a scheduling conflict next week as well, so it kind of worked out for both teams. But we get the 4 home games if the series goes the distance, so we have the home ice advantage. The first 2 games are in Toledo Friday and Sunday. We come home, which I think is advantageous for us to be able to get the word out Wednesday, Friday, Saturday next week, so we have a little more time. And who knows? I mean, if the team can go and steal a game on the road, or maybe 2 games, maybe it's a better schedule for us coming back home. Who knows how it works out? But a little bit odd for a team with home ice advantage to start things off on the road.
And you're getting some great play in net too, huh?
Oh, Devin Williams has been excellent. I mean, right now for me, he's the MVP. He's been, in the Idaho series. There wasn't many times during the season you could say our goalie stole a game, but he definitely, I can point to 2 games for sure that he did.
Well, before you get back on that bus, go to Bricktown Brewery on us.
All right.
John, there you go, buddies.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, fellas. Again, fabulous job. We'll
Thank
keep in
you
touch
very
with you guys.
much.
Hopefully a couple more times at
Coach,
least.
thank you. Good job.
2 more
Thank
series,
you.
right?
Thank
2
you.
more. Western, then
we're halfway there.
All right, congratulations, great job. Hey, you want to stay with us because Bill Haisten, our favorite guest in the Tulsa World's outstanding columnist, will be on here to talk about what's wrong with the Thunder, what's right with the NFL draft, what's going to happen in college football for 2019. All coming up with Bill Haisten right after this.
Robertson Tire has been locally owned and serving Tulsa for the past 50 years, but we're much more than a tire shop. We handle alignments, oil changes, brakes, and much more. For all our services, coupons, and location information, visit us online at robertsontire.com.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene. Now we have our guest, Bill Haisten. He's going to talk about the Thunder. He's going to talk about spring practice and anything else he wants to talk about.
So you and Richard got the Derby covered?
Got that covered.
What a disappointment that was.
Give us your thoughts on it, though. What do you think?
Just that I love great races in the Derby, a great horse to come out of it with a shot at a Triple Crown. And none of that. I mean, you had a great horse who got DQ'd.
First disqualification, 145 years of the Derby.
Unbelievable.
Well, let's the NBA playoffs rage on, but we don't care. Okay, but the Oklahoma City Thunder are out and they're looking for answers still. Bill, you've covered them a lot this past season. Some of your thoughts on the Thunder. Was it a disappointing season?
Yeah, it was. I wrote last year that season was the most disappointing with Carmelo.
Right, yeah.
And now I think this trumps that, really. I mean, think about it. 2 All-Stars, a middle of the roster that was supposed to have been bolstered pretty big time. But look where they were so flawed. Free throws. Couldn't make free throws.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Terrible sequences, if not quarters and halves defensively. And then after George got hurt.
And three-point shooting?
They weren't very good.
No.
And the three-point shooting is ridiculous. Now, they averaged 32 attempts a game, 32 three-point shots a game. That sounds crazy. It is crazy, but it sounds like a lot. It's not even close to the league lead. So that's the direction that the league is trending.
Right.
They better go find some wings who can shoot the ball. And I think Westbrook, because I see both sides of it. I can see where a different point guard might change things, and I can see also that Russell doesn't have enough guys he can trust to get the basketball to. Because before George got hurt, Russell was sharing the ball pretty well, and he quit shooting so many threes. But I think later he felt like he had to. So
the Thunder ended their season with a record of 49-33. Rallied towards the end though, and got themselves up to 6th in the Western Conference, which we thought, well, we got a shot now, going to take on Portland. End up getting knocked out of there in 5 games.
Yeah, 3rd straight year out in the first round, and really got kind of trounced in all 3 series. And in spite of being the 6th seed. Most people seem to think they would beat Portland because they swept them in the regular season. So they just got their butts outplayed in every sense. And plus, while the Thunder guys were mostly average, except for Game 3, I guess. But I mean, Damian Lillard, in my mind, went from like here to here.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the top 10 guys in the whole sport now. So they met a hot guy who had a real mission in Damian Lillard. And they weren't very inspired and didn't play hard enough.
They didn't play inspired at all.
They missed a bunch of shots. They were 10 of 61 from 3 in the first 2 games.
Wow.
At what point, Coach, do you just say,
exactly.
we ain't going to do that anymore?
That's my question, Bill. I mean, when we get down to it, 3 years in a row, first, what are we doing coaching-wise?
I know.
And Sam Presti's had no change, right?
He said that, but I mean, here's where I lean on that, Gil. I'm more of the mind that, why would Billy want that job?
Exactly.
He's going to make millions. He could have had the UCLA job, presumably, for a lot of money. I don't know why Billy himself wants to stick around. I mean, it's obvious. Whatever messages he's delivering in the huddle, I don't think they're getting, in most cases, they're not getting executed or even attempted to be executed.
Well, we know one is not.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. But I'm just saying. I mean,
and he has the ball.
Well, Billy Donovan won 2 national titles and a bunch of college games. He's a smart, good coach. So I wonder if he's frustrated. He's got to be at some level.
And how do we explain it? What are we going to do about it? I think the team, somebody talked to Russell Westbrook about not only the way he shows himself off, but the entire team, the entire community. And this thing with Barry Trammell, this next question. Yeah. That was embarrassing, Bill.
No, it was ridiculous, and I'm not sure, honestly, that Russell even knows why. If he believes he dislikes Barry Trammell, I bet he doesn't even know why he dislikes Barry Trammell. First of all, if you go way back, you remember the headline in the Oklahoman, Mr. Unreliable, right, about Kevin Durant.
Durant.
Well, Barry Trammell didn't write that headline. No sports writer writes the headline. Anyway, and I'm thinking, well, what else could there be that Russell would carry a beef like this. I don't get it. But no, it was. You know what I'd have done about it?
No.
I mean, just stop asking him anything.
I thought so. Just don't interview him. Don't talk to him.
Right.
Yeah.
When does he ever really willingly, happily cooperate anyway?
Sure.
I mean,
Just ignore him. Yeah.
Well, they said, Presty said yesterday, I saw a clip, that he said, well, Russell is going to answer questions because that shows his growth.
Ah.
Right.
How old is he anyway? I mean,
He's a 30-year-old guy who made $35 million.
Yeah.
Last year his contract is what, 40 something?
47.
So what do you do? Yeah.
Think about all the good that can be done with even some of that money.
Wow.
I know, I can't tell anybody, and I never would tell them how to spend their money. But think what a hero you could be in the state of Oklahoma if you had a few $1 million to share with some school districts.
Another big topic I want to get you back on that I know you pay close attention to. The NFL draft, 7 rounds, 254 players taken and stuff, and no surprise and great pride to Oklahoma. #1 again, the second year in a row, our Heisman-winning quarterback, Kyler Murray.
Well, it's no surprise. As of draft night, everybody kind of knew it. But I mean, what if I told you 2 years ago you're going to have 2 transfers, both win the Heisman and both go #1 in the draft?
They know you didn't.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, 50 years from now, people are going to say, that's unbelievable.
What will they say if we have 3?
Well, it could happen.
It could
He's
happen.
like the 3rd favorite on the board in Vegas
Exactly.
already.
Wow.
Because of Lincoln.
Yeah,
Absolutely
sure,
because of Lincoln.
So Sooners had 8 players drafted, second most in OU history. Only program at least 4 players picked the NFL draft in each of the last 12 years. 7 offensive, 1 special team, and what a surprise. For the first time since 1995, not one single defensive player picked from OU.
Well, I mean, you just hope that means your NFL talent's in the lower. Is it freshman or second-year guy or something?
I don't know. Surprised, Chris, because weren't they 130?
Yeah, exactly.
They would
That was
last.
no surprise for sure.
Yeah.
Marquise Brown, of course, went to the Baltimore Ravens in the first round. OSU, Justice Hill, 4th round, Baltimore Ravens. And you were thrilled about our former Tulsa McLean kid, Alabama's Josh Jacobs.
Boy, Josh Jacobs, I think they got a bargain.
I mean, all right, it's an unbelievable story.
Really is. Yeah.
Hey, what if he's like great?
Yeah.
I mean, what a story then it really becomes if this kid goes and makes the Pro
he has
Bowl
a chance
6
to be
times.
great,
I
I'll tell
know, that's what I'm saying.
Now, how did all the schools miss on him here? OU, OSU, team?
It was a. I mean, I don't know. I think progressively after a certain couple of dominoes fell, that everybody kind of became.
Well, here's the deal.
Familiar with him, and there was activity late, but I think by then
it was a scheme. Yeah. As a sophomore and as a junior, he was not in that position. And Jarvis Payne was our coach at McLean, and he said, I've got to get him the ball every time. So they went to the Wildcat.
Yeah.
Shotgun. He got the ball every single time. Before he would get it every 2 or 3 times. So I mean, it put him in a position where, like I said, I was over Cash Hall one night and saw him score 8 touchdowns, 6 that counted, and it was unbelievable.
Well, he averaged 15 yards per carry. I mean,
wow. Let's get your take now on spring football. Just wrapping up, Bill, as all 4, or Big 4 we call them, OU, OSU, Tulsa, Arkansas, all will have new starting quarterbacks 2019.
Yeah, and I guess at Tulsa too, but for sure at OSU, we kind of go into the summer not knowing who that will be. So presumably you think the SMU kid is going to be the
They're talking about that kid,
Arkansas.
the Ben Hicks, the transfer, Nick Starkle transfer from A&M, another transfer. We were kidding about the fact it may not take long for a freshman quarterback to get in there because his name is Jones, as in John Stevens Jones, grandson of Dallas Cowboy owner Jerry Jones.
No question. Well, you know who's going to end up being a good player at OU? And he's about this tall. Drake Stoops will be a good player at OU. So who's to say Jerry's grandson can't be a good player at Arkansas?
How about Oklahoma State?
Although it's a lot harder quarterback.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry.
Spencer Sanders, redshirt freshman, a lot about him. Drew Brown, the Hawaii transfer.
Yeah.
He's the OSU quarterback.
Well, I would bet $1 on Spencer Sanders because of the dual threat dimension he brings. He can really run it. So, we'll see. We got a whole month off. And they got a California freshman who's kind of interesting too. Yeah.
And for Tulsa, the Baylor transfer, Zach Smith, and of course, Seth Miller picked up the end of the season too, the young man from Collinsville.
Yeah, his first 3 starts he struggled. His last 4 games he played well. I think he's completed 62% in his last 4 games. So that gives Philip Montgomery
summer
legitimate competition.
Summer workouts absolutely mean a lot.
No, it's essential and it's interesting too.
Yeah. We have something for Bill here, taking time with us.
Bill, if you get any time off, you can go by Bricktown and get you a burger.
There you go.
That's so big.
There you go.
You know how I feel about their salsa.
I love that. Bill Haisten, the Tulsa World, their columnist, does such a great job and covers all the sports for us. That's why we had him on here to kind of recap all the big shows. Bill, thanks for taking the time with us here. Appreciate it. We're going to have a special event coming up here, Shoot for the Center, a charity horse basketball tournament. We'll tell you more about it coming up on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight.
Remington Park is now officially open around the clock. That's right, we are 24/7.
We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock till broad daylight. Gonna rock around the clock tonight.
So when we say the party never ends, you better believe it. Remington Park, now open 24/7.
Each week we talk about the GTR, and we know for a fact that Forrest Cameron and his wife Sharon put out a tremendous paper. Well, I brought all 6 of them today. I'd like for you to see them. The Union Bound Dairy, and here is the Owasso Rambler. And if you live in Bixby, how about the Bixby Breeze or Broken Arrow, the Broken Arrow Express, Jinx, District Gazette, and then of course the Tulsa Midtown. All of those, the GTR. If you haven't had an opportunity to read one, do it, and you'll be proud of it.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene. I have a special event to preview for you. It is going to be the Shoot for the Center. It's coming up on Saturday, May the 18th, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the center itself in their brand new facility, the Center for Individuals with Physical Challenges. One of their past board members and a great supporter, great friend of ours, Gary Bartlett. Gary, welcome to Oklahoma Sports Scene.
Chris, pleasure to be here.
You're the kind of the nemesis behind this whole thing. It started 3 years ago, bringing celebrities in to play a fun game of horse.
Well, it's a fun thing to do. Horse is an easy game to play. Anybody can do it. You don't need any particular set of skills. And it can, it's a non-contact sport, so nobody gets hurt. We can do it at the center, so we have an opportunity to bring a lot of people to our facility and let them see what it is that we do and get a better feel for what goes on behind the walls that they drive past every day there at 11th and Utica.
Well, you know, you got some great matchups here on the horse game, but the one I'll be most interested in is at 2:15 with Conley Phipps and Bobby Allison, my 2 coaches.
You know,
and because Conley is a prolific shooter.
Our 6A, 5A champions, right?
Right, exactly.
But again, you know, Gil, that's one of the beauties of horse is that you don't have to be a great shot. You need one trick shot.
That's right.
And you can go a long ways with that.
But my goodness, you look down through here, now Derek Gregg and Mike Carter, there's a good challenge.
Yeah.
Mike,
actually, okay, late breaking news. Mike Carter had to scratch.
Oh.
So I think what we're going to do is move Derek into a 3-way game with Larry Wofford and Jerry Clancy.
Oh,
so we let him play his boss.
Yeah, play his boss.
Well, actually, and Jerry Clancy is Larry Wofford's boss. Larry is the dean of the School of Business.
Yeah.
So we'll see who.
I know who's going to win.
Well,
Mr. President.
It'll be interesting, won't it?
Okay, Oklahoma State Cowboys coming over, right? Your head coach Mike Boyd and assistant Scott Sutton, right?
We're excited to have both of those guys participate. Scott's been with us every year. Of course, this is actually called the Eddie Sutton Challenge.
Oh,
so we love having a Sutton family involved with it. And Scott is going to play his nephew, Spencer Sutton, who played at ORU.
Right.
And last year they played a tooth and toenail, fight it down to the wire game, and it's a lot of fun to see how competitive that can get.
So Big Country Reeve, Randy Rutherford, Keaton Page, some other fans that Cowboy fans know well.
Randy Rutherford and Keaton Page, you know, you might bring a sack lunch for that one because that may take a while to get finished out. Both of them are supremely confident, and that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Randy can still play.
Randy can still play. Yes.
The one I like too is the 445. You got the Blankenship versus Alexander.
You know,
last 2 state champion football coaches.
That's right. And Bill has been so generous. He's played in all 3 of our tournaments so far, and just is so good to help us out every year. And Dave's the first time in, but just a heck of a good guy, and we really appreciate having them come out.
Tell us something more about this Center for Individual and Physical Challenges. I've been involved with them in a lot of events, including yours, the Shoot for the Center, as well as their outstanding charity polo matches coming up this summer, too.
That's right. And, the center is just one of the really wonderful volunteer things that I get to do every year. And we serve about 1,600 individuals in Tulsa every year with physical disabilities. And we just opened the new part of our facility right there on the corner of 11th and Utica, and it's going to be geared primarily toward youth, serving the youth sports, because between the ages of 8 to 18 there really isn't anything in Tulsa to work with the youth with physical disabilities. So we're going to specialize in that and offer some programs that are just not available anywhere else.
Shoot for the Center. Come on out to the Center for Individual and Physical Challenges. Again, it's 815 South Utica here in Tulsa, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, May the 18th, excuse me. It's a great event, great cause. You'll have a lot of fun. There's something for Gary here taking the time.
Gary, be our guest to go to Bricktown.
Hey, we will do that.
All right.
I appreciate it very much.
Bet.
Thank you.
Gary Bartlett with us here from our center again, and Shoot for the Center. It's going to be a lot of fun again on May the 18th. And best to your love life, Andrew, those two beautiful girls of yours.
Appreciate it, Chris.
All the best. Thank you, guys.
Gil, thank you.
All right, right back with Barry Lewis to talk about our Oklahoma Prep athlete and coach of the month of April. Stay with us.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lovers skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, you won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
30 years ago, a race began along a quarter-mile of dirt and dreams in Oklahoma City. Today, with the biggest prize money and the best horses, that glittering quarter-mile is home to the best quarter horse racing on earth. Remington Park proudly presents our biggest quarter horse season ever, celebrating 30 years of hard racing fun. World's best, OKC's own, Remington Park.
I bring Tulsa's voice to Oklahoma City and Washington. I build relationships with elected officials and community stakeholders to develop policies that grow the Tulsa region. I loved my time at Rogers State University. The personal relationships I developed with professors really helped develop a skill set that would help me serve the Tulsa region that I care about. It all started for me at Rogers State University.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene, and now we do our high school portion of the show with our high school expert, Barry Lewis. And Barry, this last week we lost an icon in Tulsa athletics.
Yes, Booker T. Washington's former basketball coach, Nate Harris, who led the Hornets to 10 state titles in 25 seasons. He passed away on Tuesday, April 30th at the too young age of 72. It's just not going to be the same without seeing Coach Harris out there at Booker T in the field house that bears his name. So he was just such a presence. I compare it to some extent here to sort of like he was like John Wooden at UCLA, for those who can remember. Yeah. Oh, yes. What a presence he was. Sure. Even after he retired from coaching, right, he would still be around Pauley Pavilion, and he was just one of a kind, a Hall of Famer.
Nate always sat 3 rows over on the top seat next to the rail. And when I'd go to those games out there, I'd go over and visit with him for a moment because, he was coaching when I was at Union. He was at Edison and Mason, old Mason, before he went to Booker T. And, what a guy that had so much to do with how those kids developed themselves. I mean, he was a player's coach. He wanted those kids to matriculate academically and athletically. And of course, I think 18 state tournaments, he won 10 of them.
Yes, I mean, what an incredible record. Over 600 career wins, sent several players onto the NBA, many on to college success, both on the court and later on as coaches. Mm-hmm. So Nate Harris has left quite a legacy at Booker T. Washington.
No
and
question.
his homegoing service will be in the field house that bears his name at 11 a.m. on Saturday, May 11th.
Correct.
So I bet there will be quite a turnout there.
I remember just this past February putting him in the Ring of Honor, their first one in Booker T. And then, of course, Coach, we have in our Tulsa Public Schools Hall of Fame, 2016, I believe.
That was one of the iconic acceptance speeches. He's sitting at the dais because he couldn't get up, and we gave him the handheld mic.
Oh, boy.
And after 10 minutes, Chris went to the podium and said, and that's Nate Harrison. He said, and I'm not done. And he went another 5 minutes, but that was Nate. He gave him, but we're expecting a full house at Harris Field House. I know the family has rented 350 chairs for this floor.
Wow.
And of course, then we see that 2,000 out there. So it'll be 11 o'clock in the field house, and we're looking forward to saying goodbye.
Well, Barry, we got work for you to do. You always have gracious enough to Tulsa World to select our Oklahoma Athlete and Coach of the Month of April, and announce him for us now. Tell us a little bit about him.
Our Athlete of the Month is Bristow's Kyron Johnson. He's coming off a tremendous month and a really good opening weekend of May as he helped lead Bristow the Bristow boys to their second consecutive state team title in the track and field meet at Tulsa. Kyron won the 400 for the second straight year, and he was a part of 3 other championship relay teams. So Kyron is an outstanding athlete, and not just track, but also football and basketball. A really standout multi-sport performer and really fast, as you can imagine. So Kyron Johnson of Bristow is our Athlete of the Month.
And for the Coach of the Month, seems appropriate, we go to the sport of baseball, and not too many better than this coach.
We were talking about legends, coaching legends.
Yeah.
Well, here's another one, Owasso's Larry Turner. He has led Owasso to 11 state titles, and he's a favorite to win a 12th this week. And some people might not remember that he also played on he was a standout player on Owasso's first state championship team way back in 1973. He's coached at Owasso for 36 seasons, and they're going stronger than ever. They entered the state tournament with a 34-5 record. They were 17-2 in April, and then won 3 games in the regional, all by shutouts. So they appear to be peaking at the right time. And I'd have to consider the Rams to be the favorite going into the Class 6A state baseball championship. So Larry Turner of Owasso is our Coach of the Month.
I think that's a great selection, and of course, they've had such a great program at Owasso for so many years, and what a great facility now. Artificial turf and press box. I mean, they have everything. And
they do. It's a major league type program there, and they've sent several players onto the major leagues.
Sure have.
You look at Pete Cosman, Brian Flynn, and we could go on to others, but they really do things in a first-class way at Owasso.
As you wrap things up here, besides all the prep work he does and covering all our high schools throughout the area here and stuff, he's also Drillers baseball man. See him in the press box all the time there. What's your impressions of the Drillers through the first month or so of the season?
Well, I just came away from watching the Drillers win their 7th out of their last 8 games. So they are starting to get on a roll right now. Gavin Lux is really on a roll, one of the top prospects in all of minor league baseball. He's got 4 homers in the last 3 games. I would urge Tulsa fans to get out to One Oak Field while they can to watch these top prospects like Gavin Lux, Mitchell White, who pitched a great game today, Cabert Ruiz, their catcher. These are all prospects who are in the top 50 or 60 widely regarded across baseball, pro baseball. And they're going to be probably heading up to Oklahoma City or the major leagues real soon. So catch them at One Oak Field while you can if you're in Tulsa.
We got a special gift for you too, right, Gil?
Well, I'll tell you what, we held one back just for you.
All right.
Jimmy's Egg.
Thank you very much. Love Jimmy's Egg.
We're going to come right back with our parting shots. Stay with us on Oklahoma Sportscene at Bricktown Brewery and still Jimmy's Egg.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brew house? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
Jimmy's Egg now introducing a 55-plus menu. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Special items and special prices for us a little older, I guess you'd say. Also, don't forget, coming up on Jimmy's Egg, they have free pancakes. That's right. You download their app, you can order free pancakes. The best ever, of course, at Jimmy's Egg. They serve breakfast and lunch all day. They open at 6 a.m. They close at 2 p.m. Locations throughout Tulsa, throughout Oklahoma City, 22 company locations. Jimmy's Egg, simply the best.
Welcome to OKC's most unique casino experience. One moment you're surrounded by dazzling lights, jackpotting the latest and greatest machines in town, and the next moment, cheering home a winner in the greatest quarter horse racing show on earth. It's a truly unique 24/7 gaming experience. The only casino in the heart of OKC is the only casino that can make your heart truly race. Remington Park.
Wrapping things up on Oklahoma Sports Scene, that means time for parting shots. Coach Gil Cloud starts us off.
Last week, we lost an icon in Oklahoma basketball. Nate Harrod passed away at 72. Nate was a friend of mine, but Nate was a friend to a lot of people. He took care of his student athletes. He took care of his academic assignment. And while he did that, he went to 18 state tournaments and won 10 of them. How iconic is that, one individual winning 10? You know, his legacy will live for a long, long time at Booker T, because the field house that we now play in at Booker T is the Nate Harris Field House. Rest in peace, my friend. You did a great job while you were with us. You'll do a great job where you are now.
Well, it had never happened in 145 years. The winner of the Kentucky Derby was not the winner of the Kentucky Derby. Maximum Security finished the race across the finish line first by a length and a half. Looked like the dominant horse in the entire race, but then hold all tickets. 22 minutes later came the objection from two riders in the race. And sure enough, the stewards went back, looked at all the angles, looked at all the video, decided that yes, Maximum Security did, in fact, interfere in the race, needed to be taken down. Dropped all the way to 17th. And that put up a winner of 64-1 and caused quite a ruckus in the sport of thoroughbred racing. The stewards really had no choice. They went by the letter of the law. Gary West, the owner of Maximum Security, said he will file a protest with the stewards. Doesn't make any difference because they don't hear protests anyway. What happened in this race, though, is that something, maybe a lesson can be learned. In international racing, they say they will not take a horse down if he looks like a clear winner. It's not the case here in America. Maybe a lesson learned. All we know now is that we made Kentucky Derby history nobody wanted. Well, back to this next taping. Coach will be back at our friends Bricktown Brewery at 31st in Peoria there, and Brookside, taping at 5:30 on Monday the 13th of this month.
And we're going to have Steve Freebus, who is the Central Region Athletic Trainer of the Year, Gatorade Athletic Trainer of the Year, and hopefully, I've seen his plaque, and it was better than Bryce's.
That's right. And we're also going to have some representatives of the Tulsa Drillers. They're playing great baseball now, as Barry Lewis told you about earlier. Looking forward to having them on as well. So be sure to join us down at Bricktown Brewery on May the 13th, 5:30 p.m. for the taping. You'll see the show here on May the 17th and May the 15th, Oklahoma Sports Scene. Glad to have you with us. See you next time.